Hello, my name's John. I'm going to be making one of these two models, but I'm going to let fate decide which one. And you're watching Wargames, Models, and Other Hobbies. Welcome back to another video. I'm not sure what I want to make today, so I'm going to let fate decide, and it's going to be either Cain or the Big Mek Dakkarig from Warhammer 40,000 Armageddon. So I think I'm going to go with heads for Cain and then tails for the Dakkarig. Rather than tails, we will go with Aquila, as I have a Gilder credit from Necromunda. So heads and Aquila, heads and Aquila. So hopefully I won't hit the camera. We'll let it drop and land on the cutting mat. Hit the camera. Heads it is. Cain, here we go. Okay, I haven't actually opened this model yet, so let's take a little look. If you like the idea of letting fate decide what I'm making, drop it in the comments. And if you have any suggestions of what things could decide what I make, put it in the comments as well. So, like I said, I haven't looked in this yet. And there are two bases still stuck in the bottom. There we go. So two bases, the instructions, and then there is also the scenic base that allows you to put the characters on one large base. Let's have a look on here. So they do have the little data sheet on here as well. So let's get going. Now I've got glue, knife, sprue glue if needed, and some clippers. Let's zoom on in and start with part 1 and part 2, which are just here. So if you haven't seen any of my videos before, I have warts and all real-time videos. The only time I cut is if someone rings, someone at the door, need to let the dog out or something like that. Other than that, you get fully unedited building, painting, converting videos. So you will see everything in the process. I'm aware that some people put it on in the background while they're doing their hobby. Other people sit down and watch the whole videos. Entirely up to you how you do it. That's going to go on there like that. If you have any suggestions for videos, I'm always open to suggestions. Currently, you get a video every Friday at 5. Oops. And sometimes I do some bonus videos. So there is part 1 and part 2. Let me just put that off camera while I get part 3. Now I'm not sure whether I'm going to put these as individual models on two bases or put them on as the little set piece with both of them on one base. I may just make them for now and then decide that later on. We shall see. Right. How does that sit on there? Okay, so that almost clips in place there. So what I will do is just run some glue along the seam on the inside. There we go. So, upcoming things that I'm looking forward to in my hobby. I am looking forward to the new edition of Necromunda. We'll see what this streamlined version looks like, and I will be buying it. And then at the same time, if I don't like the streamlinedness, I'll just play the old edition still, because editions never die. Which also leads me on to another thing that I want to do with all of the Armageddon Orks that have kind of come out, and I've been building bits and pieces of the models. It's got me back into Gorkamorka, and I want to play a bit of Gorkamorka again, dig out my old kits, maybe save a few of them because they kind of been languishing a little bit, so it'd be nice to save a few and start that part of the hobby again. I always loved Gorkamorka when it came out. That would be a game that if Games Workshop wanted to reboot, I would be fully on board with that. It's nice to have games that aren't centered around the kind of the same things. I do like Space Marines, but you get a lot of games that are centered around Space Marines and the Imperium, and I do like the way Gorkamorka just went in the other direction. If you're not familiar with it, it used very similar rules to the 90s edition of Necromunda, and it was set on the planet Angelus, where an Ork Hulk crash landed, and it was a kind of a Mad Max style gang war game with orcs, Gretchen, diggers and muties. If you'd like to see some videos on Gorkamorka in 2026, drop it in the comments. Now back to this model. This is going together nicely. It's not an overly complex model. I don't know if it was a limited availability or if it's still available. That's the wrong piece I've just cut off. That's a piece of the other character. I was too busy talking about Gorkamorka then. Hey ho. As I said at the beginning, it's warts and all, including the mistakes. There we go, that's more like it. Right. Pinch that together for a little bit. There we go. It's quite a nice standing position of this model. You could easily convert this to a general of an Imperial Guard, Astra Militarum army. But again, entirely up to you, as it's your hobby and this is my hobby. Right, 7 is that one there. Okay. Now I haven't been looking on camera, so hopefully this has been in focus and not a problem for people to see what I'm doing. Okay. How's that fit there? There we go. Do like that chain sword. It's quite a nice scaled version for this Imperial Guard Commissar. Now, I haven't read any of the books with this character in. Might do down the line. The name, I'm thinking, could be Ciaphas Cain. I may be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm not, nice. But hey, I'll have to have a look at some of the books that this character's in. I don't know if he's in more than one, but I saw the model and there was a very specific reason why I got this kit, and that was the Valhallan character. So there is the Commissar. So now I've done the Commissar, let's put that to one side and let's get this Valhallan now. If I had the wherewithal at the moment, I might have bought a few of these kits and seen if I could make a squad of Valhallans. But for now, I'll just stick with the single. Wouldn't it be nice if Games Workshop released a few of the old Imperial Guard regiments again, when you could have a choice of different regiments, fantastic little models. Not saying you can't have the choice now, but it's kind of limited to Death Corp, Cadian, and the old jungle fighters. So now I need the bit that I cut off earlier. Oops, slightly off the top of the screen. But hey, oops. I do like that trench coat. Looks like it's got like heating pipes and things like that to keep the character warm in the cold. Okay, where am I at now? So I'm at 15 and 14, which is the Melter. One of my favourite weapons in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Let me know what your favourite weapon is down in the comments. I do like needle weapons as well, but the Melter, don't know why, I do like it. And as always, there's probably some mould lines that I will sort out later on. Okay. So this is going to go on. Let's just hold that for a little bit. You know, I'm thinking... Oh, that's my phone. Let's say that again. I'm thinking it might be quite nice to do a fun with magnets video for this kit. So I don't think I'm going to stick these down to the bases when I'm done. I will put the bases in place so we can have a little look. But I think mounting these guys with some magnets will give a little bit of an interesting dynamic on some bases. I really like that backpack. That's quite cool. Little cup and things like that on there. Okay. Now I would like a bit more time at the moment to do my hobby, but unfortunately at the moment work's getting in the way, as it does when you have to pay for stuff. But I think I'll do a few more videos like this where I let fate decide what I'm going to make, as it does give a little bit of a interesting outset to the videos. As I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, so a little bit of enjoyment for me there. A hobby lottery, so to speak. Apologise, I'm babbling on now. Right, let's get that head there. Look at that beard. Carefully tidy that up. There we go. Okay. There is that Valhalla. Now I really like that model. That's a cool model. Okay, so let me get the base off this so we can have a little look. Now, two little bases here, so we've got that one just there as well. So the Valhalla just sits on the base like that, and then the Commissar just sits like that. I can glue this rock to this bit. I mean, he's got some pegs on him, so it kind of, he sits on the pegs. And we'll do some capillary action with the glue for the base. So let me know what you think. Should I do fun with magnets, or just let them balance? Let me know down below. So I can either have them sitting on their bases individually, or go for them sitting on the base together like that. But anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed this little build. Let me know what other video ideas and things like that you've got, and I'm quite happy to see if I can put some of those together. But for now, all I can say is thank you so much for tuning in. My name's John, and you've been watching Wargames, Models, and Other Hobbies.